Welcome to my channel. This is Manny. I go by as MS23 on Discord and on YouTube. I've just started my journey playing Pokemon VGC this year, and I wanted to make content as someone who just started to bridge the gap and increase the accessibility into the format. I know many people like myself who want to get into the format of VGC, and being someone who just started, I want to pass on and document all the things I've learned along the way. Well, what's the best way to learn? Is to practice. So since the Series 1 Season 2 ladder is now up and running again, I want to put my team into deep end and see how well we do against the ladder. I made this team which uses both unique and more meta Pokemon, which I go into depth about what each Pokemon does, and in the outro of this video you will find a slideshow of all the showcase Pokemon, their sets, and I will also provide the Pokepaste and team code, so you can either play it on Pokemon Showdown or play with my team on Scarlet and Violet. So without further ado, let's go straight into the team. So as you can see here, my team consists of Gholdengo, Murkrow, Dragonite, Raichu, Hydreigon and Sylveon. So let me just go straight into the sets. Gholdengo holds the Meta Coat and its Terra type is Steel, with the moveset Protect, Shadow Ball, Make It Rain and Nasty Plot. The EVs will be in the Pokepaste and will also be in the end of the video in the slideshow. Murkrow, Prankster with Eviolite and its Haze, Foul Play, Tailwind and Protect. Just to go over that, Haze is used because Dondozo and Tatsugiri get an Omni Boost. Omni Boost is just when you get double in every single stat. Haze will get rid of all of the stat changes any Pokemon has got, and since the ability is Prankster, it gives that priority, so this should usually go first in the moves whenever you use it, so you're more likely to land that. And even if they do tend to protect this move, it cannot be protected. All of the boosts from any Pokemon on the field, either your side and their side, will also be affected by the Haze. Just going back on the Gholdengo, Make It Rain, base 120 Steel type move, hits both Pokemon on the field. Shadow Ball just for same type attack bonus damage, and Nasty Plot to set up with Protect. Good as Gold means that you can't be affected by any status moves, which means you cannot be put to sleep, cannot be paralyzed, cannot be burnt, or be affected by any status in the game. The next Pokemon is a Dragonite. This is a choice band set with the normal Terra, with the moves Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Extreme Speed and Brick Break. Brick Break is used to get rid of the screens. Brick Break does destroy screens which are Light Screen, Aurora Veil and Reflect. Earthquake obviously is a move that hits every Pokemon on the field, but I've seen this be more useful when I've been in the ladder and just using the Pokemon, because it's been very difficult to take on two Pokemon when you've got one Pokemon left, and I think Earthquake's just been a viable option in that sense to prevent myself from being in a situation where I cannot win a 2v1. My more unique Pokemon I've been using, which I haven't seen a lot of people have been using, is actually Raichu with the Focus Sash. Terra type is Flying, synergizes very well with the Earthquake on the Dragonite. It also prevents anyone hitting me with an Earthquake, which is really nice because Electric only has one weakness, being Ground. And the moveset I've got is Fake Out, Nuzzle, Feint and Protect with the ability Lightning Rod. Fake Out will usually go first. It's the highest priority move in the game, which means it will flinch the Pokemon, so that effectively means one person's Pokemon on the other side will not be able to attack me for the first turn. The use of Nuzzle is actually for speed control. This is a Raichu which has EVs maxed out in speed and is using the Timid. I believe Timid is the nature, and with that it means that the special attack goes down, speed is increased by 10%, obviously making it as fast as it can be for Nuzzle, because then Nuzzle can paralyze the Pokemon. It's a 20 base move with 100% paralysis chance, which means it slows down the opponent's Pokemon, which makes my team a lot better, because as you can see so far in the team, quite a lot of Pokemon which I've bulked out, not much speed investment but enough to outspeed some of their own counterparts if they were to verse each other with 0 speed investment. And the last one, Feint, which is quite nice. Not a lot of people have been using this, but I've seen this to be very useful because moves like Make It Rain, Earthquake, I'll go into Hydreigon and Sylveon in a second with the moves Heat Wave and Hyper Voice respectively. They were both going to be protected by Wide Guard, and Wide Guard is a move which stops any Pokemon from attacking multiple Pokemon on the other side of the field. So an example of this, like I said, is Earthquake. Earthquake hits every Pokemon on the field. If my opponent wide guards, it then prevents Earthquake from hitting both the opponent's Pokemon. And this is where Feint comes in, because Feint is quite a neat trick where it's a priority move and it breaks down any protection. So if someone protects and I double into something, it will definitely hit it, but and make the protect useless for one turn. And protect's a very used move in VGC, and that's why Feint's very useful there. And for Wide Guard as well, some Wide Guards, and I use Earthquake, Wide Guard would be protection would be broken and it should hit both Pokemon, which is awesome. The next one is a Hydreigon, very common set, very much something that we've seen quite a lot of. It's the Assault Vest, Terror type Poison, and I've gone with Draco Meteor, Terror Blast, Heat Wave and Dark Pulse. I've used Terror Blast because I want to hurt the opposing Fairy type Pokemon quite a lot, and being the Assault Vest, I can actually 1v1 some Hydreigons myself and retaliate with a Draco Meteor, doing a lot of damage, and in some cases taking it out in one turn and still surviving. Obviously the ability being Levitate, immune to any ground moves, which synergizes well yet again with the Earthquake from Dragonite, so you might see these two coming out together. And the last Pokemon on the team is the Sylveon, quite a slow Sylveon. This is because lots of people use Trick Room. Trick Room is just a move which allows the opponent to make the field allow the Pokemon with the slowest speed stats to go first, and it just reverses the attack order. I've done this on purpose for the Sylveon to have a low speed stat, so if that is the case, the Sylveon is likely to go first or second. The moveset is Hyper Voice, Quick Attack, Terror Blast and Protect. Pixelate, which means any normal type move then becomes a fairy type move, which means you also have a same type attack bonus on it. I use Quick Attack because sometimes it's quite neat to be able to get some priority and then get some damage off on a Pokemon that's faster than myself. Hyper Voice, obviously standard Sylveon move, which will synergize well with the item, which is a Throat Spray, and the Throat Spray is an item which the user gets a 1.5 times boost in special attack once using a sound based move, and this is where Hyper Voice synergizes very well in this moveset, because once it Hyper Voices, it then happens to get a 1.5 times special attack bonus, and with that it just makes Terror Blast, Hyper Voice and Quick Attack, Hyper Voice and Terror Blast much stronger, being special type moves. And obviously, as I said, Protect being a very standard move in VGC, and I'm putting that there on this team for the Sylveon as well. And the Terror type for this is Water, something a bit different. We do normally see Fire type. I have seen some Water type Sylveons flying about, but the one thing that was good about Water type is that of course it's weak to Grass and it is also weak to Electric, but the Grass weakness can be mitigated with both the Hydreigon being Poison, also Dragon, which is resistant, and also having a ×4 resistance with Dragonite, so I can swap them in. And if an electric move was to occur, the Lightning Rod ability is that the Pokemon draws in any electric type move. So if it tries to Thunderbolt, a Rotom tries to Thunderbolt my Sylveon and I bring in my Raichu, it gets an instant special attack bonus by 1.5. But in this moveset, I'm not able to utilize that special attack bonus, since I've gone more physical and a support set. So you'll see I've got basically one special attacker, one physical attacker, one more physical attacker, one more physical attacker, but I mostly support, and then finishing off the team with 2 special attackers. So I tried to round off my teams. The idea for me is 3 physical, 3 special, so I don't get teams that are coming against me where they can either burn me, which halves my attack damage output, or they use moves like Snarl and moves that reduce and mitigate the amount of damage I can output to my opponent. So without further ado, I will go and transition into the battles on the ladder. So I'm actually versing the 9th ranked best player apparently, and with their team they've got a Farigiraf, Gholdengo, Turco, Maushold, Murkrow and a Hydreigon. So priority is not going to be useful here because the Farigiraf has the ability Armor Tail, which means it prevents any priority moves being used. So with that being in mind, I don't think Raichu will be that useful in the initial stages of this game. I think I will go with both I'm going to go with Murkrow, and I'm going to go with Hydreigon, because if he brings out his own Hydreigon I can just Draco Meteor it and I should live theirs. If he brings out the Gholdengo I can just Heat Wave and I can also hurt the Torkoal because I'll outspeed it. The mouse hold might be an issue, so I will take that into consideration now. And because they might bring their own Murkrow, I think I go Sylveon, and to round off the team, Gholdengo myself, just in case if they tend to bring their mouse hold, which I think they will, but redirection won't be too useful against me since I'm using a lot of moves which will hit both Pokemon on either side of the field. So we'll see what they bring. This is literally my first game on the ladder. I'm surprised actually because I'm Great Ball rank and I'm versing someone who's ranked number 9 in the world. So we'll see how I fare up against them, and we'll see how well I perform. So they're about to send out the Murkrow and the mouse hold, which is quite nice, I think, because if the mouse hold just population bombs and I tailwind, I don't think it has any way of hitting my Gholdengo, because I do want to keep my Hydreigon around for quite some time. So I'm going to make that swap initially straight away, because I expect a population bomb to attack my Hydreigon, because they will realize that the Murkrow won't be a threat, as well as theirs. Murkrow isn't much of a threat. All it is really a support Pokemon. So hopefully we can make this prediction. They might even protect with mouse hold, but we'll see what happens here. So it looks like they're going for an attack. My Murkrow is faster since I used Tailwind first, which is good to know. Yep, as you can see, my opponent also uses Tailwind as well. And then let's see, we can see a population bomb. Perfect. So we use a population bomb, and now we can just immediately put some damage on the board. And I'm feeling like I might be able to just nasty plot. No one on his team looks like it will be faster, so I'm just going to nasty plot immediately. I'm not going to Terra at the moment, only because I feel like if it does use a population bomb predicting me to Terra, because it might just know that I'll use a single move. But okay, so population bomb goes straight into Murkrow, which is perfectly fine. It will probably go down, which to be honest is ideal in this scenario, because okay, maybe not. So it looks like this mouse hold does not have a wide lens, which is good to know, which means it could be safety goggles. And obviously we see the speed drop on my Gholdengo, which means it probably is not outspeeding the mouse hold now after Tailwind, and I don't think it's outspeeding anyone on his side of the field, but not to worry. I think this is where I immediately bring in my Sylveon, just because I can protect the this is where the usefulness of protect is very important. As you can see, I'm going to protect here, and I think I can just straight away go for the make it rain, which means both Pokemon on either side should be falling unless one has a focus sash, which means it will live on 1 HP. Yeah, I expect the mouse hold to probably population bomb the Sylveon, which means that protecting there is going to be useful. I doubt it will population bomb into the Gholdengo again, only because okay, so our opponent, because it's a ghost type, but our opponent obviously swaps here, which means something is taking a well, I don't know how well this Gholdengo will take this make it rain, and it doesn't look like my opponent is protecting, but we'll just find out in one moment. The steel type Terra Metal Coat times 2 nasty plot make it rain. I think it does do a lot of damage. So yeah, the mouse hold on that side of the field does not protect. Me protecting is going to be very useful, and it uses Encore, and as we see, good as gold means that it cannot be affected by any status moves, which is useful to know. Actually, I did not know, I was not aware of that, but this is the great thing about playing the game. You learn whilst you're playing. So as you can see, immediately I've done so much damage to that Gholdengo. Sylveon, I don't know if it has the damage output to be able to take it out in one hit with the use of a quick attack, but it's still at a low enough HP where I don't think that Gholdengo can take me out by itself. So I think based on the team selection, it might see the Hydreigon come out now, because it might just come out and use Terra Fire and Heat Wave. but it brings out the Murkrow, which is quite interesting. So, do I think keeping the Sylveon is going to be imperative for the end of the game, and I think another Make It Rain should be fine. I will be slower than this Gholdengo because Icy Wind did reduce my speed by I believe it's by like 0.68 times by 0.68. So I will not be outspeeding, but it cannot hit me in one hit because of the investment I've done in my HP. It's very unlikely. I don't think there is a single move, even if both of them double target me, that will result in my Gholdengo going down. I did get a reduction in my special attack, but even if the Murkrow uses Haze, which it might actually use. Okay, so there Gholdengo protects. This Murkrow might look like it is a okay, so it's just gonna spam Icy Wind. It doesn't do a lot, even though it's super effective on Hydreigon. It doesn't do much at all because, as I said, Murkrow's very much a support Pokemon. But this speed reduction might be quite important, especially as we come to the end of the game. But we do have to take out the Murkrow, knowing it's not Focus Sash, and I think our special attack has now gone down back to neutral. And we'll see what the last Pokemon is. So the Tailwind's petered out for me, the opponent's Tailwind has also petered out, so that means their Pokemon should be outspeeding mine in any scenario now. So we'll see what the last Pokemon is, and it is Hydreigon. So I think we should be fine. I think Make It Rain and a Draco Meteor, as long as if it protects, I think we still win. With the having the Sylveon in the back is just going to be really useful. I just think that it might be a Terrafire Hydreigon, which also means that it will present its own problems because it's going to resist the Make It Rain. I'm not sure, it depends on the moveset, but I think Gholdengo might die to a Heat Wave, so might need to just hope that it does miss. I think probably the better move in looking at it and talking about it now out loud is probably better for me to protect, but he does Terra the Gholdengo, so I think we should be fine. I think Heat Wave that's not being okay, so he Dark Pulses me, that's fine. As long as I don't flinch, I think we have a really good chance of being able to win. So my Gholdengo is going to, so it's got a Life Orb, that's good to know. Okay, so Draco Meteor should just take it out completely. Yeah, perfect. And now if we do not flinch, I believe we should just win this turn, but we will find out in one moment. And there we go, we take the first game. Quite a tight game, really difficult one actually, only because I think just my opponent went in with a really solid strategy. But that's the thing, is sometimes when you're on the back foot to start the game, it's very much easy to rotate and be able to make the right moves, and if you do, you are rewarded, as you can see there. And we do take our first win of the session. A very interesting team. They've got a Toxtricity, Salamence, Meowscarada, Flamigo, Farigiraf, and a Haxorus. So they got Farigiraf, so I don't think we're going to be seeing much from the Raichu again this time round. But I think the best way maybe to start this game might be to, it might be just to Earthquake potentially, or even use Hyper Voice. But it's very difficult because I feel like they'll set up Tailwind themselves, and if they do, then we might have slight issues afterwards. But I might go with the same 4. I think the trusted 4 from the last game might be very useful in this match as well. Is there, if we take the Farigiraf out, is there any way? Yeah, I think we need to bring Murkrow. I don't see ourselves not bringing it, even if we actually, if it doesn't, so if they don't have priority Tailwind, if we go, I think he's gonna outspeed me. I think we do have to do this. Murkrow into Gholdengo again, and then just the same. So the trusted, we're gonna go with the trusted 4. We're gonna trust, because Farigiraf being an issue with Armor Tail and not being able to fake out or use any priority moves, it is quite the problem, and that's where Raichu kind of struggles, I think, in this team. When we look at weaknesses, and perhaps we go over that at the end of the video, when we go over the whole team in general. The weaknesses do lie there, where of course you see how Flamigo and Farigiraf do come out. I feel like they're going to expect a tailwind, so they're going to just Trick Room. So I'm going to just immediately Terra and just make it rain and use Foul Play on the Farigiraf, because that should take it out, and I don't see what this Flamigo does to actually harm me, really, unless he predicts the Steel type Terra and uses a fighting type move, which I highly doubt. I don't see what it can do. So okay, interestingly enough, he does predict it. Fair play. So he does actually predict the Steel Terra, and that gives me the assumption that it might just be choiced in a sense. So we are already on the back foot, which is not ideal. But if he does Trick Room, perfect. If he does Trick Room, then we are looking like we're in a good position, because I didn't Tailwind on purpose, and like I said, our team has a little bit of a hidden gem in there with the Sylveon. Because of the speed tier, I think it should just outspeed everything on the field, and then we can just literally use another. You know, I think it might be a focus. It could be a focus Sash Flamigo, so I'm gonna just double up there, but it could even switch out. The lower defenses, if it protects, fair play, but Hyper Voice should be taking out the Farigiraf. But interesting turn play by opponent turn 1, and that's the thing about this game. It's very much a high risk, high reward, and I see that especially in this series, it's more noticeable that you see Pokemon that are going hyper offense are really benefiting from just taking opponents by storm. So it's really gone into Fairy Terror, which gives me the assumption that a Dazzling Gleam is coming out, which I don't think my... Okay, so they do have the Wide Guard, so that is interesting, and I think that means next turn I probably do need Terra Blast. That was a really cool play. Never versed Flamigo before, so we're always learning, which is great to see, but it doesn't really help me out really as much of a hindrance. But we know we outspeed the Farigiraf, so hopefully this Foul Play doesn't do a lot, does not do a lot at all, but we know that we can do this, and then we can go straight into the Foul Play there, because we do outspeed. Yep, so it's going to spam Wide Guard, so this is a perfect opportunity where I've put Terra Blast on this on purpose, not only for the water coverage, but this is now also a Fairy type move that should do a lot of damage. In fact, it does take out the Farigiraf, which is why I like this set for Sylveon, because the Farigiraf was obviously going to Trick Room, and I knew that was going to be the case. So they basically effectively wasted a turn because they've done no damage onto the board. And if I expect another Wide Guard, I think I just Terra Blast again and just Foul Play, because nothing seems like it should do a lot to myself. We do have Hydreigon in the back. Do I want to guarantee? I think how many turns of Trick Room left? So 2 turns of Trick Room, which means I do have 2 opportunities to do damage. So I'm going to actually just... Actually, no, you know what? I need to get guaranteed damage, so I'm just worried about... This is not going to do a lot. I am going to just do this, and then I'm just going to do the same thing as I did last time. I expect a Protect to come out. Okay, so it did Wide Guard again, so that's useful. Luckily I didn't Hyper Voice, because that would have been a bit of an issue. So Terra Blast, let's see how much it does. Doesn't do much, probably like 25%. Boom Burst does come out. Wide Guard does protect it. Okay, so Wide Guard does also protect it from the moves being used by itself as well, which hits everyone. So I think the Flamigo is just going to be on the field just to spam Wide Guard. I don't see any other reason why that wouldn't be the case. This has this Throat Spray, which we see activate because of the sound based move, and now we have one turn left of Trick Room, but I used my Terra early, and I think this is an important lesson as well. Using your Terra early doesn't actually help you in some cases, and we're going to see a quick attack come out from the my Sylveon just to hit the Flamigo. I feel like he's just going to Hyper Voice again, but I feel like I would be in a better situation if that's the case. Yep, so it's just going to, sorry, I meant the Flamigo with Wide Guard again, preventing my Hyper Voice. So we just quick attack that, so we get that off the field, which is nice to see. And now we'll see who he brings out, because one turn left only of Trick Room. Boom Burst is coming out, but we should tank that. The Sylveon unfortunately goes down because of the special attack increase, and it looks like it might happen to be, oof, didn't do enough damage, but the Twisted Dimensions returned to normal, which is perfect. If it doesn't have a Pokemon, I was about to say, if it does not have a Pokemon which will outspeed us, this would be ideal. I don't think we win. I don't see us winning. Has he hasn't, I don't, they have, sorry, they haven't terrored. Play rough, it misses. No, it doesn't. It lands and it just kills us. Perfect. I got juked by the protein, but so we go 1 for 1. And now I'm gonna just wait for the last battle to come through, and we'll be into our final game. But that was a good game. That was really interesting. I think there's a lot to learn from that. Wide Guard protects you from moves that you use yourself. So for example, Surf might be another case where you use Wide Guard and it prevents you from being hurt, which is nice. Flamigo does learn Wide Guard, so that did hamper and stop some of the things that I wanted to do. We do go down a little bit to reflect down results. We go 1 for 1. We're seeing a lot of Frigraphs, which is kind of upsetting, because I do want to show off and showcase this Raichu's skill set, because in that case Raichu would have been very perfect, because we would have just fainted and then we would have Hyper Voiced. But yes, of course, it's trying to get the Frigraph off the field, which is being quite a nuisance from being able to really show its full potential. So hopefully in this last game I can get Dragonite and Raichu in, but give us a moment and I'll pan us back in once we start battling. Our opponent's been found, rank 10. I'm just surprised that we're seeing so many Pokemon that people are like very high ranked, and I think it's just because the season just started, so a lot of people getting their matches in quite nice and early. So we see a Mousehold, a Gengar, a Dragonite, a Arcanine, a Dragapult, and a Gastrodon. So Fake Out going to be interesting this time around as well. It's looking quite difficult to try and use Fake Out this time, but I'm gonna see if I can try and utilize this composition of Pokemon. Earthquake hits everything on the team for super effective damage. I could protect first. I feel like it would be naive of me not to bring the Sylveon, but the Sylveon does take deal with 2, but I think Gholdengo starting isn't a bad choice either. We can go straight into Make It Rain. Do we need the Murkrow? That's something to consider as well. I think we just start the game off with a Gholdengo and Gholdengo and Sylveon lead, so we can just spam Hyper Voice and Make It Rain. It's going to be interesting. We see the Mousehold start the game, and if we do see Arcanine, that's going to provide us a little bit of a challenge, but needless to say, like I said, all Pokemon can be hit by Earthquake, and we might need to hold on to Terra for the Dragonite instead, because Dragonite using Earthquake with normal Terra, meaning that it doesn't get super effective hits off by the Dragapult and Dragonite itself, will be useful. So we see the Arcanine come in, and I'm just going to protect. So something's probably dying to Population Bomb. I'm actually not going to protect. I'm going to just straight up Make It Rain, and I'm going to protect here, because Population Bomb, this is the problem with Mousehold. Population Bomb is just literally going to do immense damage to something. Yep, and it looks like the Sylveon is the primary target, Let's see, a flare bit's coming out. Ooh, I think we die. Yep. So we're already on the back foot, as you can see, which is not ideal. But it does take a lot of damage, which I think we can definitely take advantage of. So Raichu's coming out now. This is where Fake Out is quite nice. I have a strong, I don't know what it is. I have a feeling that this mouse hold might tear it into Ghost, which means it prevents the Fake Out. But we'll see. If they do that, then fair play. I think this is probably my most optimal move to do, because even if I Fake Out the Arcanine, okay, cool, so it just protects, so it's not too bad. That's perfectly fine. Raichu's got the Focus Sash, so it can't be taken out in one hit regardless, so we can just Hyper Voice. I don't think Flare Boost does a lot. Okay, so he close combats into me, which means he's going to take more damage from the Hyper Voice, and since it's single target, it will do more damage than it would if it was hitting both Pokemon on either side of the field. And that does absolutely nothing. That is very interesting. So this is where it's very, I think I don't see a way out really. If I protect and then he population bombs, I'm hoping he population bombs into my Raichu, so I protect there. Let's see, it probably just goes straight for Sylveon though. It doesn't make sense not to. Okay, so E-Speed, perfect. So we prevent that from taking us out, which is nice. And yeah, I'm guessing this one's Wide Lens. That's done a lot of damage. It's probably Technician as well. If it can miss, it would be ideal. No, it's going to crit and it's going to kill. Yep. So the strategy now, I think we need to land a. We don't see any flying types, and we're gonna see an extreme speed. So ideally, I think I Terra normal here, and then because there's no point terroring anything else. If I can double protect, that would be ideal. If I don't land it, then it looks like the Raichu is going to see itself fall, and this is obviously going to be either from the extreme speed or the earthquake. If it does protect, this is going to be good. I'm hoping the mouse hold, if the mouse hold protected, I still wouldn't be able to prevent that from happening. Okay, yeah, that's fine, makes sense. I'm hoping my protect lands as well. Oh yes, it does, so perfect. So we'll see my Raichu around for a little bit longer, and now we're going to see an earthquake come up, which should take out the Arcanine. I think speed control was my issue. I think I should have stuck with my gut, started with the Murkrow, perhaps gone with something else instead of the going out with the Gholdengo. Obviously I had Arcanine and it had Gengar and a Dragapult, which is in hindsight a bad decision on my behalf. I think Murkrow into Dragonite would have been a good lead. Just using Earthquake immediately off the bat would have been a lot of damage, and then it would have been better for anything else to come in. And that would have been a good point where you bring Raichu in as well, to be fair. So we're gonna see the Gastrodon, which is interesting. I think we just have to see my Raichu fall. And the population bomb comes out, and I should live, but I don't see a way out really out of this game. It depends. It really. Ooh, okay, we don't live at all. It's a crit at the end, but it doesn't make a difference. So more of an offensive Mousehold build. Mousehold is a big issue for my team, and very reliant on Gholdengo, because without that there is probably no way out. In that sense, because population bomb just does so much damage, and we're probably going to see us lose to an earth power. Yep, exactly. Opponent lands earth power, and that is us coming to a close. So I'm going to go over the team, so I'll pan back to when I show my team in the game. So as we look over the team at the moment, so what do we see the weaknesses are? So Mousehold, definitely something that has thrown a spanner in the works on the team. Gholdengo being the main check for that, and obviously my opponent recognizing that with Arcanine is one way to get around it. Using a choice band Arcanine, it looked like it was into my Gholdengo and just taking it out with the Flare Blitz. That's where it presents itself some problems. Murkrow itself is very good, very much a reliable member of the team. Very good for setting up speed control. Speed's very important, especially in this format. We've noticed that obviously today in the game, which I did win, speed did play a big factor. Dragonite, very good overall, didn't get to show off as much as I wanted to. Would definitely probably do another video with this team again and show its full potential, hopefully, whilst we make our way to Master Ball tier. Raichu, unfortunately, we saw it a little bit there where it used Nuzzle, it used Fake Out. It's basically supposed to be a bit of a nuisance, but due to Farigiraf actually being an issue for us, we weren't able to really show it off that much. So next time I'd definitely like to show off the combo of Earthquake and Flying into Raichu. That would be kind of neat. Hydreigon, respectable performance, very good, very much reliable. It did a really good job. Obviously, it having Assault Vest does present itself to being susceptible to not being able to protect moves from Pokemon faster than itself. We saw that with the Meowscarada. If I did save my Terrestrialization into Poison, perhaps we might have seen a different result in the score for that game, but as things are, we did not win that match. And Sylveon, quite an interesting one, showed off what it was really capable of, showing that in the Trick Room it can actually be viable, especially if those using Farigiraf don't have the right IVs or don't have the right speed investments involved, because we did see ourselves outspeed the Farigiraf in Trick Room, which means we were slower. So it was nice to see that we were able to showcase that, because that was kind of neat and something that I worked on personally, that felt like was necessary for us to take our games to the next level. Also learned that Flamigo does have Wide Guard, which is nice to know, and I hope overall you guys found this experience very useful, very much a learning experience. I hope there's some things you picked up from other people's teams or even my own team that you think, oh, that's kind of cool, I do want to use this. I think that's a really neat kind of tech, or something that I'll take into consideration and think about as we move forward in the VGC series. So I hope you guys all enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the content, and I hope you enjoyed the outro, which is going to show all the EVs, the Pokepaste, and also the rental code for this team, which I will be releasing. I hope you guys enjoyed. Wish you all the best. Hope you like, comment, and subscribe to my video. And this is the MS23 and Manny signing off.